JUJU Smith-Schuster. JUJU Smith-Schuster. JUJU was targeted the fourth most times out of any wide receiver in the league last year. He had 111 catches, 1,426 yards, and 7 touchdowns, and he did all of that as the secondary option in the Steelers offense, and that is no longer the case. He is now the clear-cut number one wide receiver, and in my opinion, the best projection to lead the NFL in targets this year. In fact, I would not be shocked in the slightest bit if JUJU was to finish as the wide receiver 1 overall, and he is not going in the top 5 wide receivers drafted. The potential upside that you expose yourself to by stacking Big Ben and JUJU is just too high to pass up. JUJU had 10 games with double-digit targets last year, and in 3 of those he went over 15 targets in a single game. The kind of ceiling that a player who gets that kind of volume can give you is tournament winning, and when it comes to volume, Roethlisberger generates a ton of it. He may not be the NFL's most efficient passing quarterback, but last year he led the league in attempts and passing yards and is currently going as the 14th quarterback off the board. The Big Ben to JUJU stack is a top 3 stack in my opinion when it comes to affordability and upside in the $3.5 million best ball championship on draft.com. The man, the myth, and the mustache, Antonio Brown. 168 targets are gone with him from this offense. JUJU, he's a surefire option to get over 150 targets, could push 200, who knows, but who besides JUJU can you pair with Big Ben in this offense? Here's what we know about the offense. JUJU Smith-Schuster and James Conner. Conner is a reliable player. Last year he caught the ball 55 times in just 13 weeks. He averaged a touchdown per game, which is awesome, but 12 of his 13 touchdowns came on the ground. Only 1 was a receiving touchdown. So between that and the potential emergence of Jalen Samuels, I really don't see a high correlation between Big Ben and James Conner. I just don't think that many of their big weeks are going to have much correlation with one another. Now here's where things get murky. Besides Conner and JUJU, Donte Moncrief is the only player to surpass 50 catches in an NFL season, and that was 4 years ago in Indianapolis, right? This is the first year that he has been on this team, and even though he projects to be the Steelers wide receiver 2 at the moment, he's got plenty of competition to fend off. Moncrief and James Washington are ADP twinsies, and while personally I strongly prefer Moncrief to James Washington this year, a 10th round ADP is too pricey for either of them as far as I'm concerned. Vance McDonald is an option that people seem to like quite a bit, and that I just simply do not understand. He has a career high 50 receptions, and he's never topped 4 touchdowns in a single season. He's going around the 6-7 turn, and frankly, I have no idea why. He's being drafted as if he's part of a tier that I just simply do not view him in. Now, I'm not super opposed to getting a smidge of Jalen Samuels exposure, but I don't want to reach on it. I think that James Conner is going to vulture a lot of the valuable running back work in that offense, and yeah, he'll definitely have some receiving upside, Samuels will, so I don't mind him as a player to stack with Big Ben, but his ADP, it's high. I think there's players who are going to have the same sort of role in other offenses that you can draft later. So I don't find myself taking too much Jalen Samuels unless, maybe he falls a little bit, and then I'm good with that. When it's all said and done, ADP is considered, I think that the sleeper pick in this offense is Deontay Johnson. He might be my favorite ancillary player to target out of the whole bunch. He was the second pick of the 3rd round in this year's draft, and if there's one thing we know, it's that the Steelers do not mind letting their young players shine, letting their rookies have major roles in the offense. It was only 2 years ago that JUJU Smith-Schuster led all rookie wide receivers in yards. So, it is definitely possible that Johnson carves a role out for himself, but he's not a safe pick, not by any means. He could easily make your starting 8 players in a best ball team 1 time or less all year. That would not shock me. But, if I'm drafting a roster with Big Ben and I make it to the 18th round and he's still there, which he almost always is because he's going post 200, I'm not opposed to making that pick. I wouldn't rush to do it, but if he's there, and I've got Big Ben as my quarterback, I might take him over like John Ross or whoever, whatever player that is a deep threat wide receiver that I'm taking with my last pick. I tend to lean into a stack with that pick, so if I've already got Big Ben, sure, I'll grab Deontay on that team, why not? In conclusion, Big Ben to Juju is a pure money stack. It is one of maybe 3 QB to wide receiver stacks that I'm willing to aggressively chase with the best ball championship entry, even if it means taking Juju in the first round. ADP be damned. I do not care. He has that kind of upside, and taking him a little bit early might differentiate you from other Juju lineups. Ben is going in the 10th round, so, it does take 2 of your first 10 picks, but it's absolutely worth it. There's not a better way that you could spend that draft capital. If you guys like this type of content, if you've never played on draft.com before, use promo code UPSIDE when making your first deposit, and Draft will give you a free $3 contest ticket. You can use it to any contest of your choice. Once again, that is promo code UPSIDE when making your first deposit on Draft. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Cleveland Browns, guys. See you then.